Mudslide in China as heavy rains from storm Gaemi Drench region. Trash balloons cause flights suspended in South Korea. Vietnam's communist leader dies aged 80, creating power vacuum. Trump ready to beat peace broker on Ukraine. A twice-yearly injection offers 100% protection against HIV. Paris Olympics kicks off with lavish boat parade.
Hello, I'm Johnny. Thank you for joining us on Funday News. It's Monday, July 29th, and here are your top stories. At least 12 people were killed after a mudslide hit a homestay house in a tourist area in southeastern China on Sunday, as heavy rains from the remnants of a tropical storm drenched the region. Elsewhere in China, a delivery person on a scooter was killed Saturday after being hit by a falling tree in Shanghai, apparently due to storm-related winds. These deaths were the first in China linked to Typhoon Gaemi, which weakened to a tropical storm after making landfall on Thursday. Before reaching China, the typhoon intensified monsoon rains in the Philippines, leaving at least 34 dead, and swept across the island of Taiwan, where the death toll has risen to 10.
The mudslide struck the homestay house around 8 a.m., trapping 21 people in Yulin village, which falls under the jurisdiction of Hengyang City in Hunan province. About 30 centimeters of rain was recorded in the area over a 24-hour period. 6 injured people were rescued. The reports didn't specify whether the injuries were serious. CCTV said the owner of the house initially reported that 18 people were trapped, but a search and rescue team later determined that 3 more people were unaccounted for. The one-story house offered food and accommodation near Hengshan, a mountain in a scenic area where tourists come on weekends to escape the summer heat. The scenic areas had been closed since Sunday because of the rains until further notice, even before the mudslide.
North Korea has sent about 500 balloons laden with trash into South Korea's airspace over the past 24 hours, disrupting flights and igniting a fire on the roof of a residential building. The balloons are part of an ongoing propaganda campaign by Pyongyang against North Korean defectors and activists in the South, who regularly send balloons carrying items such as anti-Pyongyang leaflets, medicine, money, and USB sticks loaded with K-pop videos and dramas. Balloons have affected traffic at South Korea's Incheon International Airport several times in recent weeks.
An official at the Korea Airports Corporation said a suspected balloon suspended takeoffs and landings at Seoul's Gimpo Airport on Wednesday evening for 2 hours. In Gyeonggi, a province near Seoul, a balloon caught fire on top of a residential building, and firefighters extinguished the blaze afterward. South Korea's military said some trash balloons were equipped with timed poppers that could cause fires. Lee Sung-jun, a spokesperson for South Korea's Joint Chiefs of Staff, told a briefing, "A timer is attached to the trash balloons, which has the effect of popping the balloons and spreading the trash after a certain period of time has passed." Lee said 480 balloons had landed, mostly carrying paper and plastic trash.
Nguyen Phu Trong, the General Secretary of Vietnam's ruling Communist Party and the country's most powerful politician, has died aged 80, creating a power vacuum. According to his medical team, Trong died early on Friday afternoon after a period of illness. Trong held Vietnam's most powerful position, General Secretary of Vietnam's ruling Communist Party, since 2011, making him one of the longest-serving leaders in decades. He also served as president from 2018 to 2021. During his time in office, he oversaw a period of rapid economic growth as well as a balancing of ties with China and Vietnam's former foe, the U.S.
Trong was known for his blazing furnace, anti-corruption drive, under which even senior political figures, including former presidents, were forced to resign. There had been speculation about Trong's health for months, fueled by his absences from recent meetings. Trong will be remembered for his anti-corruption campaigns, which were unprecedented in the history of the party. Since 2016, more than 139,000 party members have been punished for corruption, a crackdown so vast it was blamed for negative impacts on the economy, with officials reluctant to sign off approvals, fearful of being accused of wrongdoing. Any plans that he had for an orderly succession transition had gone unrealized, and his death risks creating a power vacuum.
Hungary's Prime Minister Viktor Orban has told European leaders that Donald Trump is ready to act as peace broker between Russia and Ukraine if elected president, amid concerns across the continent that Trump would attempt to force Kyiv into ceding territory to Moscow. Orban's letter, addressed to European Council President Charles Michel and sent to all European Union leaders, was written in the wake of his controversial meetings with former President Trump, Russian President Vladimir Putin, and Chinese leader Xi Jinping.
The authoritarian Hungarian premier has sought to cast himself as a peacemaker, but his stance is at odds with most EU leaders who have pledged unequivocal support for Ukraine as it attempts to repel Russia's military effort. Orban also hinted at Trump's plans to potentially reduce aid to Ukraine if elected, saying, "I am more than convinced that in the likely outcome of the victory of President Trump, the proportion of the financial burden between the US and the EU will significantly change to the EU's disadvantage when it comes to the financial support of Ukraine." Trump, who often makes sweeping pronouncements on foreign policy, said last year, "If I'm president, I will have that war settled in one day, 24 hours.
According to study results published Wednesday, twice-yearly shots used to treat AIDS were 100% effective in preventing new infections in women. There were no infections in the young women and girls who received the shots in a study of about 5,000 participants in South Africa and Uganda. In a group given daily prevention pills, roughly 2% ended up catching HIV from infected sex partners. Salim Abdul Karim, director of an AIDS Research Center in Durban, South Africa, who was not part in this research, said, "To see this level of protection is stunning."
The shots, made by U.S. drug maker Gilead and sold as Sunlenca, are approved in the U.S., Canada, Europe, and elsewhere, but only as a treatment for HIV. The company is waiting for results from testing in men before seeking permission to use the shots for infection prevention. Experts are excited about the Sunlenca shots but are concerned about the lack of an affordable price. Gilead plans to pursue a voluntary licensing program, allowing only a select number of generic producers to manufacture the shots. Another HIV prevention shot, Apretude, is administered every 2 months and is approved in some countries, including those in Africa. It costs about $180 per patient per year, which is still too high for most developing countries.
After a global pandemic and in the shadow of at least 3 ongoing wars, the 2024 Paris Olympic Games kicked off Friday with a spectacular open-air opening ceremony aimed at providing relief, positivity, and perhaps even unity in a world riven by tension. The ambitious celebration was unlike any other in the 128-year history of the modern Olympiad. Instead of parading inside a stadium, around 10,500 athletes sailed in a 3.5-mile flotilla of 94 boats down Paris' iconic Seine River. The uniformed athletes cheered and waved to spectators, keeping the mood boisterous despite the rainy skies.
Following the procession of boats, flag bearers from every competing nation lined up at the foot of the Eiffel Tower for an orchestral rendition of the Olympic anthem, the raising of the Olympic flag, and the lighting of the massive Olympic cauldron. The final musical number of the ceremony came from Celine Dion, who performed Hymne à l'amour. It was Dion's first public performance since she announced her diagnosis of stiff person syndrome in 2022. Tony Estanguet, the president of the Paris 2024 committee and a 3-time canoe slalom gold medalist, addressed the athletes in introductory remarks and praised them for their dedication.
The answer for last Friday was B, sustain. She managed to sustain everyone's interest until the end of her speech. Did you answer correctly? Now let's delve into the news of Paris Olympics kicks off with lavish boat parade. Number 1, boisterous. 人、动物或行为热闹的. It was a challenge keeping 10 boisterous 7-year-olds amused. Number 2, orchestral. 管弦乐队的，管弦乐的. The trumpet call melts gradually into the orchestral background. Number 3, rendition, 表演，演唱. The musicians burst into a rousing rendition of Patty Casey's Grill. Next, we have a multiple choice question for everyone to practice. Which answer would you choose? You can write your answer in the comments section. The correct answer will be announced tomorrow. And that's all for today's Funday News. Be sure to tune in to Funday News from Monday to Friday and click the link below to join Funday for free. I'm Johnny Wu, your host. I'll see you next time.